everyone, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. I'm Tracy Stuckrath, and this is the 6th year that every March I have done something that is one of my favorite things to do, and that's celebrating women who are making herstory, as the little logo here says, in food and beverage. Women who are growing, producing, sourcing, cooking, shaping a variety of different things in food that ends up on our event menus. And our conference buffets. And this is my 6th year in doing it, like I said, and I am excited to actually design this year's honorees around the United Nations designation of 2026 being the International Year of the Woman Farmer. And when I learned that, I knew immediately that I had to do this year. So I've done some searching globally because today's first guest is from Sweden. And I'm excited to make these women visible. A lot of the honorees actually were nominated by women or people in food and beverage. I reached out to people that I know that run conference centers and convention centers and hotels and asked them who they utilize that are female farmers, ranchers, foragers. And so that is who I selected, actually. So I'm excited to bring you to my first guest here, and this is my first time switching over here. Here we go. Lisen Sundgren. She is with Life by Lisen, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right. It's Lisen.
Very good.
And she is from Sweden, but right now, I'm so excited to say this, that she's in Kathmandu, Nepal.
Yeah.
So
it's so strange.
It is so strange, but I'm so excited about it. So Lisen is a Swedish herbalist, forager, and author who's based in Stockholm, and she has spent more than 30 years teaching chefs, curious eaters, and anyone who will listen about wild, first of all, edible plants, the ones that have shaped human diets forever, and that the most of us walk past every single day without a second glance. And she was nominated by my friend Lotta Boman, and I cannot say her conference center's name. So do you know how to say the conference center's name?
Sigtunahöjden.
Okay, there is no way.
There you go.
Thank you.
Beautiful place, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. So welcome to the show, and thank you for allowing me to honor you.
I am so super grateful and excited to be here. This is such an amazing thing you're doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun, and it started. I have no idea what I lost all my notes. So this is my 6th year in doing this. So I'm so excited to be able to let everybody know about all these fabulous women who are doing great things, including yourself. So.
Thank you.
Most people, and I know in my form that I said, as a farmer, and you're like, I'm not a farmer, you're a forager. So, but I still think that's kind of the same. They bring the same aspects. You're finding these products and I'm going to say nurturing them. So what took you on this path of becoming an herbalist and a forager? Can you take us back to that moment and tell us how plants became your calling?
Yeah, well, it's a long story. I'll try to make it short, but
okay.
So I was young. I lived in New York. I studied acting because that was my dream, to become an actress. And I lived in London and Paris, and I was super, super ambitious. Worked really, really hard. I was doing well, but I got burnt out before the concept burnt out even existed. I had a sort of a nervous breakdown, and so I went back to Sweden. And the only thing I wanted, everything was just, I was just not in a very good place. So the only thing that I could see very clearly was that I wanted to have my hands in the soil and my eyes overlooking the ocean. And the doctors couldn't do anything because in those times there was no treatment for that. So I went to a clinic where they only worked with natural healing and plants. And after 2 weeks, when I was starting to get a little more curious about the world around me, it was the plants that were calling. I got curious about the plants that the doctors were using to heal me. And so as a doctor, can you tell me a little bit about these plants? And he was really smart, because what he understood was that when a person who is completely shut down suddenly starts becoming curious about the world around her, that's a sign of health and vitality coming
Oh,
back.
that's awesome.
So instead of mansplaining, he could easily just have, explain things to me. He said, well, let's go to the library. I think the librarian has a few books for you. So we went there. She had a pile of books about herbs, and I just read them, zoomed through them, and it just went in like crazy. And then I started asking about, well, I see these herbs outside in the herbal garden. Can I pick them? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. And so I went out and I said, I want to try these herbs. Can I make some tea? And he said, yeah, you go ahead. And so it was as if the plants were really calling me back to life. I mean, literally calling me back to life. And then I started working after that at a biodynamic farm called Rosendal's Garden. And if you ever go to Stockholm, I suggest you go there. It's a biodynamic farm in the middle of the city, well, in a national park. And as an intern, and the thing that caught my attention the most out of all the work that we did, working outdoors all day, having a regular rhythm with, meals and work, which was really good for me. It was the plants that really caught my attention and that caught my focus. And from there, I went on, to learn how to make healing balms and salves with herbs. And then I got obsessed with that, started selling my salves, and eventually started a skincare brand. And then eventually, so went studying and went back to New York to study some more. And then finally came back to Sweden. Yeah. So long story, but yeah.
Well, that is so cool. Really, so it was really, go ahead.
Yeah. So it was really the plants choosing me. And I hear that from a lot of plant people.
Right.
That it's not like you wake up one day and say, I'm going to work with plants, especially wild plants, and start foraging for restaurants. No, it's a calling. They call you.
So, okay. And my friend Lori, who used to live in Alabama, now lives in Detroit, but she got her foraging for mushrooms, her certification for that. Yeah. Cause I'm assuming both can be quite dangerous, for picking the wrong thing, but knowing what to, what to do. So, and most of us walk by those plants every single day without a second thought. So what is the first thing that you want us to understand, to know about what's growing right under our feet, and that got you so intrigued? I mean, I find that fascinating.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we are because of plants.
Okay.
Without plants on this planet,
right,
we would not have the biosphere that is, that creates oxygen and, an atmosphere where we can live. But also I think the first thing that caught me was that, wow, this is food, this is medicine, and it tastes good. And just going out and finding the plants is like, it makes you feel good. It puts you in the moment, because you cannot, if you walk out and look for plants, you can't have your mind full of work and business and all goings on. So you have to be really focused on what's on the ground, and then you find the patch of what you're looking for, and you get this dopamine kick, and yay, and you pick it, and then suddenly you start hearing the birds, and you feel the sun on your back, and you're completely in the moment, just with the plants. And it's something that when I discovered that, I felt like this is something that I want everybody to experience. Yeah.
And I'm going to make a joke,
and
but it's like, it's more than,
it's real food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. And that's all that. And we see animals eat all that stuff all the time. Right. But I was going to make light of it, but it's like Julia Roberts and Richard Gere and Pretty Woman. It's like, it's more than just popping a squat and putting the feet in the grass,
Yeah. And also, there is this concept called plant blindness. I don't know if you've heard about it. But it's the concept that we don't see the plants that are around us, and we can't identify them, and we don't recognize them as beings, and we put them below humans and other animals. as
Mm.
lesser beings, when in fact they're not. They're really smart beings. They're intelligent, they're sensitive, they're sentient beings. So it's just really fascinating. And just look at a plant like dandelion.
Mm-hmm.
What do people do with dandelion?
We the ones with the puffy tops, we blow them off. Yeah.
We blow them off, but you also cut the lawn because you want to get rid of the dandelions.
Right.
That's
True.
what most people
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and dandelion, first of all, is great, really important food for pollinators, but it's amazing food for us.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, dandelion leaf is like, if you go to a farmer's market in, say, Paris, even when I was living in New York, I would go to the farmer's market and literally buy dandelion leaves because they're so full of minerals and they're bitter, and we need to eat more bitters. In the West, we're so used to, we're so used to, we want everything to be sweet or salt. But
Right.
we need bitter and sour and pungent. We need all the 5 flavors. And we need to eat bitters every day for our digestion to work properly and our livers to be happy and healthy. So dandelion is like, it's free food. It's delicious once you get used to the bitter taste, which is just an acquired taste. Eventually you start craving it. And it's abundant. And it's also, yeah. It thrives where humans are. So obviously it's like, hi, here we are, use me. So you can really use them for salads, or like if you go to Greece, you get something called horta, which means like green leaves, but it's a dish with you boil the leaves and then you stir fry them in olive oil, garlic, and lemon, and that's like a green side dish. Like you would use kale or spinach, and you get that in a restaurant. Yeah,
I mean, but they're so tiny. I'm like, don't they like just shrivel up?
No. Actual leaves, they can actually be, if they grow in the shade, they can be quite big.
Oh wow!
So in the early season, they look like there's like serrated leaves, and if they grow in the shade or later in the season, they grow quite big. So if people say, oh, it's so time consuming to forage, but if you forage for yourself, you go out for a walk, pick, maybe 10 dandelion leaves, maybe some chickweed, maybe some pigweed, I don't know, bring it home and you rinse it and you have a salad. It takes 10 minutes.
Okay, now
it's not complicated.
Based on where I am, I'm like, I'm scared of who's got pesticides on their lawn to kill those dandelions. So I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to be mindful of, that's one of the things you have to think about when you pick wild plant or edible plants. We don't want them to be sprayed with anything, right?
Right.
So so I just want people to understand, and the root has been used for decades as a medicine to treat liver digestion, digestive problems in liver. And the leaves are also, if you use them as a tea, they're what do you call it? Makes a pee. Diuretic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are, and you can take the buds and stir fry them, and you have a really nice stir fry. You can put that in an omelette, really delicious.
Wow.
And you can make jam or syrup from flowers. So, I mean, it's food, it's medicine, it's nutritious, and they do good where they grow, because the roots bring down oxygen in the ground. So, so it's just in the soil, it works the soil. So they're good. Leave them.
Wow, that's so interesting. I would never have thought to eat the dandelion in my yard.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about what I do, is just showing that the very obvious things that we have around us that people take for granted and don't even see. It's like, it's a treasure.
Well, and my next question is jumping to restaurants, because you foraged for some of Sweden's most acclaimed restaurants, and I know you do that for Lotta's conference center as well. But what does that collaboration look like from forest to kitchen? But and I lost my original idea, but yeah, answer that question and maybe it'll come back to me.
Well, it's usually I get a list of what they want and how much.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes they're like, next week can we have such and such, you know.
So, but
Sometimes
do
it
you
would
give
be,
them a list of what you can forage?
oh yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
So
All
I
right.
let them
Perfect.
know what's in season. Yeah.
Okay.
And some of them were really knowledgeable, and some weren't. So the ones who weren't, I would let them know, okay, this is the season. Maybe I'd bring in some samples so they could taste it if it was new to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then from what was in season, and I love season, you know, cooking in season is
Right.
what we also do, and it's when the food tastes the best and such.
Right.
So and then they choose from that, and I would forage, you know, a certain amount, and often they wouldn't need so much because it's quite,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's not like they would make a whole dish from it, but yeah. So, and then I would go on my bike and bring my plastic bags and go out and forage and enjoy myself, and then take my bike back to the restaurant. And you know, I'm like a bag lady. You know, it's like, here's the bags filled with greens. And I love
Wow.
watching chefs exploring, you know, opening, tasting, exploring the flavor. You know, I watch their mind reeling, you know, going, okay, what
Mm-hmm.
can I do with this? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is really good season now, you know. Yeah, and then I come back and eat it. And it's just what is brought me so much joy was how, you know, I'm bringing these weeds and then go and eat there and see what they make from it. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
the plants that people just walk by, take for granted, or even worse, dig out or, you know, weed,
Right.
throw it out, that they just make the most amazing food from it, you
Wow.
know.
Well, okay, so you
Yeah.
said weed, which takes me back to 1998 and in
Yeah.
LA, and we were at the I don't know, fancy hotel. I was planning an event and my boss had told me, he's like, I don't want any weeds on my salad, on the salad plate, Tracy. Cause it was like when wild greens were starting to come in, right? Like people
Yeah.
were starting
Yeah.
to experiment that and put that on plates way back
Yeah.
26. Oh my God,
Yeah.
28 years ago. And he's like,
I
I don't
know.
want any of that. He's like, can I just have some iceberg lettuce, right, on a plate? But
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
have, like you just said, they have so much more nutritional value, especially over iceberg lettuce. Um,
Yeah.
but what it just reminded me of the question that I was originally going to say. I'm like, as a chef, you can't put something on a plate that is not actually edible, right? And like, you
Right.
can't put a
Right.
flower that
No.
is non-edible. So if you do see a
No.
flower on your plate, like a dandelion or whatever, that means you can't
Yeah.
eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, can you really eat this? And often on my foraging walks, people ask, but how safe are wild plants? I'm like, well, it's the food we've been eating since the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we couldn't go to the supermarket. Um, so it's really exciting to see when the guests, you know, get the plate and it's like, it's I don't know, gout weed or chickweed pesto, or they get some rose petals.
Oh, that sounds.
Um, yeah, or like
So you
a
can eat rose
pigweed.
petals
Yeah.
too?
Oh yeah. I take them because they're like the little white at the bottom of the leaf. You know, they're heart shaped
Mm-hmm.
like this. If you
Mm-hmm.
cut off the white part is a little too bitter for most people. So I take them and then I cut them really fine and blend them into salads. Or if you make like, it's
I have to come
delicious.
to Sweden and
You
hang out with you
combine,
because that's
you
a
know, yes, I wanted to, and I wanted to come over for dinner, or actually
yes.
before dinner, so that we go foraging. And it's interesting because I live in the city. I live in Stockholm, but I live
Mhm.
near the big national park, the Royal National Park, actually, and that's where I forage. And um, people say, "Oh, you have to live in the country," but actually, I'm an urban forager. I live in the city, and you have, as long as you're like 50 or 100 meters away from a road and in a park where they don't spray, you're
Mhm.
fine. You know, you rinse everything. Some of it you're going to
Mhm.
cook anyway, so it's safe. Yeah.
Okay, so Oh, this is so fascinating. I'm
I
so
know.
excited about this. All right. So, working with Lotta and her chefs at the conference
Yeah.
center to
Yeah.
incorporate these wild plants into their menus, what does that process? I mean, you just kind of described it like you said you
Mm,
love
mm,
watching them like taste it and smell it and feel it too, as well, right?
mm,
Um, what has the
mm, mm,
what does that process look like, and a little bit more, and then what does the guest experience or response been to that? I mean, like,
mm.
can I really eat that, or do they
Yeah.
explain that to them?
They explain it. Yeah. So the
Okay,
process, I was invited to Sigtunahöjden by Lotta and her colleague, Lena, a number of years ago.
great
And
chef.
oh, yes. And so I came to the kitchen and we decided to have a full day with the
Mm-hmm.
chefs, or the whole kitchen staff, actually, also the
Uh-huh.
service people. And so I would start explaining about foraging, what to think about. Like we talked about, for example, sustainable harvesting. It's like if you find a patch of something, don't take the whole patch. You take a
Okay.
little bit here, a little here, a
Mm.
little there. Um, and and you don't dig up roots. Well, you can if you own the ground, but on the land. Um, and you're careful with trees not to break branches, stuff like that. So I would have a little talk, and then we'd go outside Sigtunahöjden because they have this beautiful green area. And we didn't go far at all. And I would show them the plants that are in season. So we would do this in 2 different seasons, I think, the first time. Um, and I would let them taste and explore. And I encouraged them to taste and not immediately go, this is good, this is bad, but really give it
Right.
time. And it's like, okay, this is a little bitter, but if I add vinegar or oil or salt or sugar, and then we'd pick a whole bunch. I'd send them out and pick what they need. And then we had workshops in the afternoon, and I let them cook whatever they wanted. Just
Mm-hmm.
start with the flavor of the plant, and then they cooked anything they wanted. And we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now. And every
Oh,
year, it's
wow.
just, they create the most amazing food and beverage. They've also been making cocktails,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, and non-alcoholic drinks.
Oh, that's
And
so
in the
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and last year, because we realized that they don't have time to go out 2 hours every day to forage, obviously, because they work in a restaurant kitchen, so we I suggested they build like pantry to make oils and vinegars and
Oh, that's a good
pestos and
idea. Mm-hmm.
salts, yeah, and dried herbs, and so that they could add something wild every day, but without having to go forage every day. And that's been working really well. And to make pickles or ferments
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So that's been working really well.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to add those, because I love like getting pickled garlic or whatever, but to add one of those flavors of those herbs into it,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Because I actually
Yeah.
decided I
Like,
don't like plain pickled garlic. I like it with some flavor to it.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Or you can have like pickled spruce buds, for example, to add that to, you don't have to have a whole wild meal, but just to add a touch. Imagine you
Hmm.
have serve game, say, I don't know, boar or something, and then to add a
Hmm.
little bit of pine. Then you have the forest there, a touch of the forest.
All right. So now you just made me, I don't know why this just popped into my brain, but I went to a cocktail class at Slow Food Terra Madre Salon de
Oh, yeah.
Gusto.
Oh,
It was
wow.
back in 2018 in Turin, and they were actually
Yeah.
doing that. They were talking about foraging and putting that
Yeah.
into cocktails. I need to go back and look at
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, you do. You should. Because
because it
I
was
have a friend
pine
in
was one of
Sweden.
them. Yeah,
She wrote two books about cocktails, wild
really.
cocktails. Yeah, so it's a
Oh,
big thing.
oh, I
Yeah.
would love to meet her
Or
too. Yeah,
yeah, you should. You should.
yeah.
Yeah. So come to Sweden.
I
We'll have
definitely
dinner with
need to for sure.
Lotta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, so foraging is it growing? I'm assuming it's growing enormously
Yeah.
in popularity.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
excites you about that, but what also concerns you?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because it means more and more people are becoming aware of what's around us and nature, and eating more natural foods and getting interested in herbs. So that's good. What concerns me is sustainable harvesting, being mindful, because the plants aren't there for us. They in a way they are, because we can eat them, and that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But they also, we can't just go out and grab everything, like we've done with everything else in all natural resources, because if you take everything in a patch, it's not going to come back next year. And also there are other animals and insects that are dependent on these plants.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so that there is that. And I've also, because it's becoming, when I started out 30 years ago, there were not many foragers. So, and now, for a while it was kind of trendy, but like with the mushrooms, you have to have knowledge about what's poisonous and what's a little bit poisonous, what's a lot very poisonous, and also there's a skill to it. Also, the craft is knowing, like, when is the best time to take the pine spruce? When is the best time to take the pigweed? Like, when is it or the goutweed or the nettle? I've seen like people harvesting and just taking goutweed, for example, when they're way too old and thready, they're not tasty at all. You have to know when are the dandelion leaves at their best, for example.
Okay.
So that's the skill and experience,
Right. Well, and you said nettles and stinging nettles, do not touch them with a bare hand. Let me just tell you that, because I did that. But my friend Steven Satterfield in Atlanta used to buy them from my friend Lori, and he would put them in the Vitamix with oil or whatever, cook them and put them in the Vitamix, and he made pasta with it. And that was amazing. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. But don't touch them with your bare hand first.
No. Yeah. And if you do, it's not dangerous. It will burn. Well, I can do a long talk about that, but it actually increases circulation and it's kind of fun. But it's like a superfood, nettles. It's the most nutritious wild plant you can imagine. It's got all the vitamins you need. It's got minerals. It's got proteins. It's a superfood. And you
nettles
can eat it. Nettles are. And you can find, it's so interesting because I'm in Kathmandu, right, in Nepal. And I've seen this in India too. They have nettles here, but they're much taller and they have much more aggressive needles. But and they eat them. I ate Nepali nettle soup the other day. It was delicious. And I see them here. We're in Boda, it's an area, which is kind of a Tibetan area, sort of old town kind of style. And I see women in the street selling. They have piles of nettles that they're selling.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere. Yeah. So that's my new business idea. I'm going to go home and sell nettles in the street. No. But yes, and they use it for soup. And it really is. It's such, and that's another thing about some of these plants that I want to encourage people to use is like nettles, dandelions, chickweed. I mentioned these before. Lamb's quarters. They're so abundant. They're so abundant.
It reminds me of two things. I mean, like going into an apothecary. There's a really cool apothecary in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. And all those words that you just said are up on the wall, as dried things to put in your teas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When you say all those, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I love that when I travel, because I've been to Nepal before, but it's still, I'm still a stranger here and everything is, it takes time to get to know a country, right? So when I meet plants that I know, like I did today, I was walking up to a monastery and I was like, oh, there's Galinsoga. Oh, there's chickweed. It's like meeting a friend you haven't seen in a long time. It's like, yeah, I feel safe. So, yeah.
right. So Karen Sterling on LinkedIn just said flowers in salad is the best. Nasturtiums,
Yes.
is that right? Did I say
That
that right?
nasturtiums, yeah. They're
Nasturtiums.
yeah, they grow them here too. It's a plant that we grow, and
Hmm.
it doesn't grow in the wild, but it's really easy to grow, and it's quite spicy. It's quite tangy. It's very
Okay.
lovely using plants. And
Um,
another thing about flowers in food is it makes you happy, makes you smile, right?
right. Yeah.
So happiness is good.
And
Yeah.
so, okay, what about fern? Because I have had fern, and when I was in the Philippines,
Yeah.
they actually grew
Mm.
fern. That was their farm. That's what they did.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
wow. Ferns you should
yeah.
be a little careful with
Okay.
because some of them are cancerogenic. So you
Okay.
have to know exactly which ones. So I don't use them. It's not something I teach or have
Okay.
on my walks because they can be
Hmm.
hard to differentiate. But yeah, they're delicious when you get the right ones.
Well,
It's
it's
not like
very
you're going to
surprising
die
when you have
immediately
no
when you eat it
idea
once.
that, yeah, when you're like, here's your
Yeah.
meal and it's ferns, but that's a whole nother
Yeah, it's a
story.
little cinnamon, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's fun. Yeah.
Okay, so you teach sustainable foraging practices. So for a meeting
Mhm.
planner or hospitality person, if you're going to a conference center for the first time and trying to get this into a chef's things, how can we how can we incorporate that into our events, and what do we need to know first about safety? Is there legality
Mm.
around it? I mean, you're in Sweden. What is a do you know
I mean,
any
yeah.
are there any laws and
Well, you can pretty much. We have something called allemansrätten. So Sweden is unique in that way. It means all men's right to access. So it
okay.
means that we can forage as long as we don't dig up roots or break branches. We can forage pretty much anywhere. But that's different in every country. So you have to
Mhm.
check that for your own country. But if you have your own land, of course you can. Or if you have a farm, this is one thing that I'm really interested in is having farmers use their weeds to sell. I
Ah,
mean,
mhm. Right.
they grow there. They're there anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So you might as
Yeah.
well make a profit, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think, yeah, it's knowing identification, know your plants
Mhm.
really, really know your plants. I've heard horror stories. Not that anybody's gotten poisoned, but I heard about a chef. This is years ago, and he had found a white flower that he thought tasted like oyster, and he wanted to serve it with oyster. I heard the story secondhand, so I didn't meet him, but it was a white anemone. It's a little spring flower. It's not toxic so that you die,
Okay.
but it can make you nauseated. You should absolutely not serve it in a restaurant. So he was just like, yeah, I found this cool flower, and I'm gonna, it's like you have to really know your
Right.
plants. I'm really adamant about that. What they look like, identify them, and know when they're in season, and yeah, be mindful.
So did he nauseate a bunch of his customers?
I think he didn't use it eventually.
Okay.
So it was
Maybe he
fine.
nauseated
But yeah,
himself too much.
I so he learned the hard way, which is what we do.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's identification and yeah, and knowing where to forage. So and knowing, that it's not sprayed or that there's too many dog walkers, perhaps.
Right. Yeah. That's a different kind of spray.
That's a different kind of spray. And learning how to cook them because that there is a technique. Like there was this one plant that has kind of peppery at Sigtunahöjden with Lotta. We find there's this one plant, Bunia orientalis. I can't remember the English name now, but it tastes a bit like mustard. It's
Okay.
in the cabbage family, and the leaves are really tasty. And then there's one chef, she was going to make like a pesto from them, and it got really slimy.
Okay.
I don't know. I've used that leaf for so many times, and the flowers and the seeds, but I never used it in a pesto, so I didn't know that. So, so that's how you learn.
Right.
You
Yeah.
try it, and
Yep.
then didn't work, so you don't try it again.
Right. Yeah. Or use it in a different way. Exactly.
Use it in a different
Okay.
way. Yeah, she actually found a
Mhm.
creative way to use it eventually. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. So how
Mm.
can you share a moment? I mean, going back 30 years probably, but share a moment when you realized
Mm.
what you were truly making an impact in this foraging and helping chefs realize the use of this.
I think this a very proud moment was one of my books. I've written 8 books on herbs and
Oh,
forage
wow. Okay.
herbs. Four of them about foraging. So there's one called Vildvuxet, which means wild grown, and it was translated into Polish. And I was like, "Whoa, Poland! That's cool."
Uh-huh.
And the publisher invited me to Poland to a literature festival, and I thought, who's going to come listen to me talk about nettle? And we had this interview, this open talk on a stage outdoors, and the lawn was just filled with people, and I was like,
Wow.
oh my god. And we had made plans for a foraging walk afterwards, and there were like a whole crowd following me. And we had also planned, in connection with this, for me to host a wild dinner at a restaurant. So I had discussed with the chefs beforehand. He was quite used to foraging. So, we had created a menu, and he wanted me to make all the drinks, to make non-alcoholic drinks, beverages with each dish. And I'm not a chef, I just make up as I go along, So I was like, okay, I'm going to make this. But it was a lot of fun. And so we served this food and the beverages that I'd made from these foraged plants. And I think that was a really big aha moment for me. Another one was when this was in 2012, I think, and foraging was not a thing, but I had been to California, I had studied in the States, I've been doing this since the 90s. And I was like, foraging is going to be huge. I knew it. And my publisher at the time, I'd made 3 books with them. They said, no, it's too small of a niche. It's not going to work. It's not going to fly.
Uh-huh.
And 3 times, me and my photographer and my chef friend, we were writing the book together. We showed them photos, recipes. They were like, no. So we went to another publishing house, Bonnier Facta, that I'm with now. And they were like, thank you for coming to us. Yes, we believe in this book. And they
Wow,
published
that's
it. And
awesome.
it's still selling to
That's
this
so
day.
cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And that was a big moment for me. That was a big breakthrough. And
And it's like finding your place. Like they were the right
yeah.
publisher for you
Yes.
versus, I mean, I think we all have to find our place in the world
Yeah.
and that's awesome. So what
Yeah.
kind of piggybacking on that, what is your greatest joy from what you do?
It's seeing that aha moment when people who have never tried wild plants, ideally if they're a bit skeptical, and they try it and like, oh my god, like there's this plant called pineapple weed, which is a great beginner's herb. It tastes like pineapple, and they taste it, and it's sweet and it's yummy, and they go, oh my god. Seeing that, when that happens, it's just I really thrive on that.
As you should, because then like you're educating, and then when somebody it's
Yeah.
like a teacher, and your kid finally gets it right or
Yeah,
understands. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And there's that thing why I think this knowledge is so important. It's not just for food, it's not just for nutrition, but also because if we become aware and get to know the plants around us and understand how precious they are and how our lives depend on them and how they're actually food, we become more conscious to preserve them, to make sure that they're around. We start understanding biodiversity. How can you understand biodiversity if you don't understand that there are many plants around you and your life depends upon them,
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of goes into the regenerative agriculture thing,
exactly.
movement that's happening, and like we need these weeds, we need these plants, we need the manure, variety of different things. And I was chatting with a chef, or not a chef, but a farmer the other day who is moving towards getting that organic certification and what the
Right.
process is to do all of that. And he realizes he's 31 and he's really understanding what's on the land that he has. And it's really fun
Yeah.
to watch him.
Yeah.
So, on that note, kind of like meeting planners, chefs, hotelier, event organizers, that there's time and skill that comes into this and
Yeah.
knowledge that goes into, responsibly sourcing with ingredients. And what would you like them to understand and know about that?
Mm.
Or,
Well, I want them to understand that there is a skill and experience, because
mm-hmm,
like when you've done this for a long time, you know where to look for what, for example,
mm-hmm,
you know, um, and like I said before, you know when is the best time to pick something, and it takes time. It really takes time. It takes time to grow things too. In fact, of course, it takes longer to get a carrot because you have to grow it for months, whereas in nettles you can just go out and grab. So it's all relative, but it takes time and skill and experience, and we should not take the plants for granted.
mm-hmm,
So I think that's a really
yeah,
important thing to think about.
yeah,
Yeah, I think every meal should, like, I'm not suggesting that people go out and cook only with wild plants, because it's too time consuming and there's no need. But to add something wild to every meal, I think it does something really important to us, because most of the food today that we eat, it's, not all about the food industry and how sad it is. So I don't even want to go there. But to get a plant, to eat a plant that grows where it wants to grow, under circumstances where it thrives, that has been exposed to rain and sunshine and moon and stars and sun, and growing on its own terms,
mm-hmm,
developing its own flavors, because the flavors often have a purpose for its immune system and defense against predators and stuff. I mean, that must be so much better for us than eating something hasn't even grown in soil, filled with fertilizers in a greenhouse. It has never seen the sun
mm-hmm.
or touched the rain. What does that do with us? We are what we
Right.
eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather
Yeah.
be a little wild than, yeah.
We all need to be a little wild. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
what I'm proposing.
exactly. Yeah.
And independent and have integrity,
Yeah. Okay. So in doing this, all right. So it's Women's Herstory Month.
Yeah.
What is important to you as a woman in the food and beverage
Mm.
industry in this foraging field as well?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I've never had a problem as a woman, but I have seen men kind of make a bigger deal of themselves than they need. I ask that we all be more humble, and I guess it's the same in Sweden, since Me Too, Me Too. There has been a huge movement among women chefs, that's really kicking off and creating sisterhoods and affecting actually men in the industry to behave differently. Of course, I mean, I work on my own, so I don't really have a problem. But I think in general, we just need to be, because I'm a woman, I'm no lesser forager, or because I wear lipstick, I'm not a lesser forager. You don't have to be like really cool and have tattoos and live in the forest to be a forager and be really
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable, because there is
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of that attitude, I find.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
you have to look deeper.
Yeah, no, I like that. And you're not this hippie person. You're a very
Yeah,
educated, knowledgeable
yeah,
person who's built this
yeah,
business and understands what she's selling.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it was often, if you look at the hunter gatherers, gather hunters, it was often the women that did the gathering of plants, whereas the men did the hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really a female. I'm not saying men shouldn't forage. I don't. I know some amazing male herbalist foragers. So it's not. I'm not really, making. There shouldn't be a division, is what I'm saying.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it is traditionally it was the women that did the gathering. So we should be proud of that tradition, but
Right.
share it.
Yeah.
Everybody's welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Now, what has been one piece? What's the best career advice that you've ever been given?
Oh, wow. I can't even think of one, but I would say
Yeah.
walk your talk,
Mm-hmm. I
which I
like that.
do because
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people talk, but they don't walk.
Mm-hmm. No,
um,
that's
yeah.
so
So
true.
let's
Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
I'll stick with that.
Um,
Yeah.
what's the best thing that you've ever cooked with something you foraged yourself?
Oh, you know what? I gave that question a lot of thought. But I keep coming back to nettle soup. I mean, I
Okay.
love my nettle soup. Yeah, it's very basic. It's very simple. I mean, I made a lot of dishes. I mean, I have recipes in every book, but that is one thing that I really, really love, and can eat over and over again.
Okay. We'll have to try some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you're coming to Sweden, so
I
I'll make
am.
you some.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what is something that you've learned from words of wisdom that you from a woman in your life, your mother, your grandmother, your
Mm,
aunts, Lotta?
mm. Well, one woman that really has made a huge impact on my herbal life is a herbalist teacher, um, phenomenal person, Rosemary Gladstar. She's an American herbalist, and I came across her in the 90s when I was living in New York and studied herbalism. And it was when I studied with her and another woman that I realized that this is not just herbalism is not just about treating disease, but about it's a lifestyle,
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
she really taught me to, listen to the plants. And she said so many things. I can't think of one thing right now. Um, but to now we're close friends, and I'm going to visit her in the States this summer, and she's been to Sweden.
Nice.
But she's a role model. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
How do you, based on your work, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh my gosh. I want to be remembered by, oh, she's the one who taught me to eat wild food. you know,
Yeah.
she got
No.
me. Yeah, because I'm all about, I always do nature and forest. Also a nature and forest therapy guide. So I'm all about taking people out into nature, learning how to get the health benefits, which is
Mm-hmm.
also another benefit you get from foraging. So if I can encourage people to eat wild foods and more seasonal, and then that's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. Okay, I'm gonna put up your contact. This has been so enlightening. I'm so excited about this, and we all need to be a little bit more wild.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
that. Yes. All right. So here is your website and your Instagram handle. How can a chef get in touch with you? I mean, and do you work with them outside of Sweden or just in Sweden?
Sure. I did a thing once in South Africa with a chef. Oh my gosh, his name escapes me at this moment. But we did a wild dinner at a vineyard at a wine producer's place. For example. So yeah, if you pay, I'll come. but
Right,
but
exactly. Yeah.
but it needs to be in the northern hemisphere, because I couldn't go guide a walk here in Nepal, for example, because now I'm only just learning about the plants here. It has to be a place where I really know the plants and have a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So North America works, Europe works. I guided last year. I taught a workshop in Italy, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Okay.
worked.
All
I
right.
was a bit nervous before, but yeah, it worked out. Yeah.
Well, and I love the walks in the forest, bathing, which is
Mm.
another just sitting in the forest and among the plants.
Yeah,
Yeah, among the
exactly.
wild
Being with
plants.
the
Yeah.
plants and the
Yeah.
trees, and just receive that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
You need to meet Cheryl I don't know what her last name is, but that wrote the book Wild, right? When she hiked from the California Trail. It's a movie that
Who's
Reese
that?
Witherspoon was in, but that
Oh,
would be, yeah,
yeah.
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 Just because it's called Wild, so yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. Well, there it is.
Listen, I am
But
so
yeah.
excited. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, so to get in touch with me, Instagram, my email is lifebylisen@lifebylisen.com, or you find it
Okay.
on my website also. So it's
Okay.
easy. Yeah. Or
All
LinkedIn.
right. Well,
Yeah.
or LinkedIn, yes.
Yeah.
I love having talked to you about, and I never actually said the title of the show, but why sustainable event menu design starts outside the kitchen, and you've done
Yes.
a really good job of explaining that and putting that thought process into our event planner, food and beverage brain. So I appreciate that.
Mhm. And also, I just want to add, if it's
yeah,
scary, start with one plant. You don't
okay.
have to know 200 plants to get started. Learn
Mm-hmm.
one plant. Start with dandelion. Just want to say that.
Okay. Yeah, that's easy. We all know what that looks like. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for being my first honoree for Women's HERstory Month this year. And I appreciate everything that you do. And I can't wait to come to Sweden and eat your nettle soup.
Can't wait to have you over. Thank Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you. All right, everyone, stay tuned. I have quite a few other women this month to honor for HERstory Month, all female farmers or ranchers or foragers to introduce you to. And I'm excited to let you know who they are and how they feed us. So until then, stay safe and eat well. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Eating at a Meeting podcast, where every meal matters. I'm Tracy Stuckrath, your food and beverage inclusion expert. Call me and let's get started right now on creating safe and inclusive food and beverage experiences for your customers, your employees, and your communities. Share the podcast with your friends and colleagues at our Eating at a Meeting Facebook page and on all podcast platforms. To learn more about me and receive valuable information, go to tracystuckrath.com. And if you'd like more information on how to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line, then visit eatingatameeting.com.